In Europe, you're much more limited, and especially when you start getting when you start going in on back roads and into small villages and small towns. Oh. Hey guys.
Hello lovely peoples.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us if this is your first time.
I'm Eve.
And I'm Ish.
And we are Peace&Kues. Woo-hoo!
Didn't know that was gonna happen. So we haven't made a video for you guys in a while. We've been throwing our content out, showing you guys what we've been up to. Last heard, we went to a tiny house festival in Georgia. It was amazing. And if you haven't seen those videos, we will put the descriptions or the links in the description.
We'll put the description in the link box.
Or we'll post it somewhere, I don't know yet. It'll be a surprise, so look forward to that.
Here.
So since then,
we're here.
We'll say that our future plans have evolved. Have changed.
Big time.
Yes. So at the Tiny House Festival, shout out to
all the amazing people that we met.
Yeah, I can't even narrow it down. So one of the things we looked at the second day was RVs and small tabs, Airstreams, and all sorts of alternative living options.
You want to tell them first about the first 2 days?
The first 2 days we looked at tiny houses.
That's all we looked at. And the first tiny house I walked into, my eagle eye noticed a crack in the wall. A crack in the wall.
Yep.
So I was like, what is that? Nobody else seemed to pay attention to it. So I walked into the second house and I was like, checking for cracks. And guess what I found? Another crack.
So what we gathered from the Tiny House Festival, looking at the tiny houses, is that it's a great option, and it's a, there's a lot of companies out there building homes, and some are amazing and some are not. However, the conclusion that we came to, at least for us, is that tiny homes aren't as mobile as we would like to be. I would not recommend moving them more than twice, just due to the fact that they're not mobile homes, and they're not meant to be as mobile. Our plans, we really don't know where we want to land, and we want a home that we can bring with us wherever that may be, that can uphold the wear and tear of the road. And
yeah, so in my mind I was like, okay, for the tiny house we can move every 2 months. We can put it on the back of the car and and be on the road. Not knowing that, so we listened to a lot of how do you say that,
experts.
Yeah, so a lot of experts talked on it and talked about it or on it or whatever. And they were really honest about things, and they did say you can move them, of course you can, but you shouldn't too often, like she said already. And then it all depends on how you build your roof, and then there's aerodynamic roofs, but it's the type of roofs that I personally didn't like so much. I wanted the all nice and angled and da-da-da, and they pretty much said that's the worst type of roof to put on the road. And honestly, like the types of houses we were interested in were all between, I don't know, 75 and 120,000.
Yeah.
So I don't want to look in the review mirror and see my $120,000
slide off the side of a cliff. Like, that would be sad.
Fly apart. Like
one of the reasons we were going tiny was to buy something that we would have and always have a home, but to spend as much as I would spend on a small house in the Midwest didn't make a lot of sense, especially with us wanting to be as mobile as we want to be.
They are awesome though.
Yes.
But not for what we have planned for the future.
Tiny houses are amazing. Check them out if you haven't seen them. There's a lot of great companies out there. They can build them to whatever specifications you want. They can move them all over the world. Just make sure you do your research and make sure you know where you want to stay when you decide to build your tiny home. It's not mobile as you may believe. So just make sure you do research.
So day 3 at the Tiny House Festival. 3 for the Americans. I can't even do it.
That's good. It's 3.
That's 3 for us. 3.
It's
3.
still 3.
This is 2 for us. Like, oh, you have 2.
2, 3.
I know that. But
So-
you guys go like this. Anyway, so day 3, we checked out all the tiny houses 20 times, and I passed all the RVs. This lady right here, she always liked RVs and camper vans and all that, and I was like, no girl, not for me. I'm not gonna live in a, no, I'm not gonna live in a camper van without showers and without all the things that I want.
Yes. So we went and we toured the third day. We toured the campers and the RVs, and there were a lot of vintage campers, huge, beautiful, completely customized and renovated. There were a couple of smaller ones, and the one that caught our eye was the Tab Teardrop. Yeah.
RV.
Yeah.
Like a little...
It's literally a teardrop, and we'll post a picture somewhere.
on the whole screen.
Yes.
Right
on the whole
about
screen.
now.
And then after seeing this, we figured this is exactly what we need. It's really small, it's totally mobile, has a little kitchen, has a wet bath with a toilet and a shower, enough space for us. We watched Teardrop Girl, and she inspired us, and we were like, we can live in a teardrop, she can live in a teardrop, everybody should live in a teardrop. Because we were just all about it, and it sounded great. So we toured teardrops, we went out to an RV place and looked at more teardrops, and we were like, yes, we're getting a teardrop. And then we decided, you know what, let's look at small caravans.
Because we looked at the price of the teardrop, and they are pretty expensive, because I guess it's like
The
a
brand
new stylish thing.
and the style, like you're paying literally for the shape of it, which the shape of it actually takes away a lot of headroom, which again, they're wonderful. We are not knocking them in any way, shape, or form, just not for us.
Ta-da!
So we looked at the price range, and they're running about $20,000. And for that price, I was like, well, let's look at small caravans, because it's the same price, and they may not be much bigger. So we went to a, what is it called?
RV dealer?
Yeah, RV dealer, and we asked to look at small caravans in the price range. In Germany, a very popular brand is Tabart, is the same brand.
Tabart?
The same brand that makes the Tab.
Tabart.
So we found a Pep. So the Pep is a great, I mean, we walk into it and it spoke to us. My favorite color is yellow, her favorite color is turquoise.
And it is white, turquoise, and yellow.
And the layout was great, and it had everything we wanted. It had a decent bathroom and a shower, and just the layout was nice, and it seemed like it was made for us and also for younger people. So I guess a lot of the older people don't like the color scheme. It's a little too bright and vibrant. They like the dark woods, which we found in caravans is mandatory. So this one stuck out to us because it seemed like a place we could actually live. So we left the dealership and we came home and we were like, yes, that's where we're gonna live. That's our house. We're gonna get it. So fast forward 5 days. And we were like, well, for that price, let's see if we could find something else. So we went back to the RV dealership and started looking at mobile caravans. They're called mobiles here. So I was trying to think of the English word, and it's like a
integrated
caravan that you can drive. So you don't need a separate vehicle to pull. You just need the one and you're good. So we talked to a couple people, some regular campers, some caravanners, and we got mixed reviews. Essentially what it came down to is that we'd be homeless if our caravan needed work. If it had to go into the shop, your whole house is in the shop. Whereas with the caravan, instead of the integrated one, you'd still have a home, and you know, you could have your separate car. So,
you know, we forgot. Okay.
So,
I'm excited.
after that, we,
What was it? Your whole home is in the...
your whole home is in the shop.
Yeah, you passed it already.
Alright, so we decided that that wasn't a good idea, and we continued to look at more caravans. We started looking at other brands in the same price range that built smaller caravans. So earlier today, we went to another caravan show with the intent of looking at 2 to 3 caravans in particular that were the smaller ones, because neither of us felt comfortable driving anything behind our vehicle at all, especially if it was our home and it contained all of our things. Like I said, falling off the mountain, not a good look. Don't want that to happen. Roads in Europe are narrow, and yeah, if it was in the States, you know what? You could drive it sideways down the highway. There's so much space. You can do some Tokyo drift. But in Europe, you're much more limited, and especially when you start getting when you start going in on back roads and into small villages and small towns. Oh, yeah. So,
guys,
we were talking to.
I'm sorry. I have a cold. I guess you can hear it. So if I'm making a whole lot of weird noises, I apologize.
Yes.
Continue.
So, we met a couple earlier today that we were just talking to randomly. Essentially, she was sitting in one of the huge bus, like
the biggest you can find there.
she was sitting in a driver's seat. I had already tired of it because the amount of money it cost made me exhausted and a little nauseous.
Yeah, it was like
130,000 euro.
Yeah. So, I'm sitting there in the driver's seat trying to see like how big this is. It looked like a fucking cockpit of a
Plane.
airplane. And I was like, oh man, if I had to drive this thing. This lady walked in with her husband, and as she was coming in the door, I was like, come in guys, I'm about to take off. And she was laughing at it because it was inside of a...
Inside the dealership. We were inside. There was no way she was taking off. She would have hurt a lot of people on the way out.
Yeah, so I was like, come in guys, I'm about to take off. And she was like, She said, would you ever drive something this big? And I was like, yeah, I was talking trash. I said, yeah, of course, duh. And she said, yeah, I would be so worried. It's so long and so wide and blah, blah, blah. And driving it through constructions. And I kind of told her our plan. And she said, is this just, do you want to just go on campgrounds? And I said, no, we actually want to travel Europe for a year or 2 or 3 years. I don't know, however long. And she was like, what? So, what are you going to do about work? Are you going to quit work for that time? Like, what's happening here? You guys are so young. And I said, well, this lady right here is not as young as she looks. She's not 22. She is older than that. And I said, and she's about to retire in 2 years. And she was like, what, retire? That's how we started talking. So we actually separated after we had this brief conversation. We separated and we kept running into each other. Anyways, long story short, we kept running into them. And in the end, we had a long conversation with them. And all of a sudden, we told them more details on what our plan is and what our worries are and what our we don't know. It's so many pros and cons with everything you do. If you get the integrated ones, you have pros and cons. If you get the caravan, you have pros and cons. So we were kind of talking through it and get those people's insight because
they're campers. They
didn't want to sell anything.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting. And all of a sudden, the lady looks at us and she's like, guys, I have a whole nother idea. I was like, oh no, not another idea. We are already like, choo, 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 too much information. And I said, So she's standing there not understanding what's going on because she spoke German. And so she was like, how about you don't buy anything at all and you just take your car, drive to the campsite. So she was like, if you go into campgrounds anyways, why don't you just rent? They have like these little cabins and like trailers pretty much that they rent out, and they are not too much more expensive than the lot you have to rent for your caravan.
Mind blown.
So I was like, oh my god, all the negative stuff, what do we do with it if we want to fly somewhere? Where do we park it?
All of our belongings would be in there. We'd have to get special licenses. We'd have to worry about driving through construction areas, like so many things.
So many things. And all of that was out the window. So I'm looking at her and she was like, what? And I was like, I translated it. And this lady that doesn't like to hug, especially strangers, she just hugged the hell out of that lady and the man.
I did, strangers.
She was smiling and laughing. She was like, yay, wow!
Such a relief. All the things that I worried about. My thing is, I have to keep her calm because she is fire and I am water.
I'm not fire.
I have to keep her calm. So when she would bring up concerns, of course I'm like, it's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna work out. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm scared too. Like, I have no idea what's about to happen. However, after this lady came up with this idea, and I could say, oh my God, I'm so happy she said that because I was worried about everything. It felt like a 1,000 pounds had been lifted off my shoulders, and I was just like, And then to make it even better, and if you guys have seen our tiny house videos, this will make sense. Remember the one where I was posing by the VW bus? That was for a reason, because then my wife says, why don't we just get you that VW bus you wanted? If I could have melted, like if I was a stick of butter, I would have been just all sloppy on the ground.
You wanted to marry me again?
I did. I married her again in my head. The wedding was beautiful, and we got married in a bus. So,
what?
Right now, we are looking at a van.
So we can travel from campsite to campsite.
And the van will be, we're gonna modify it in some ways, and we'll share that with you guys to make it
an emergency.
In an emergency, we could sleep inside it. We have our basic stuff. It's gonna have a little portable toilet, so we can handle those types of things in case of an emergency. But it's everything, and then we can get rid of even more stuff because we're going to be living on campsites who have all of the basic things we need.
Who have or which have?
Who have. Who have, that's English. You translate it to German.
Who have.
So that is where we are right now as of today.
And on top of everything, guys, there's a whole nother master plan that we are not What?
You keep shaking the camera.
It's a master plan that we will not tell you today because it's still a secret. We don't plan on doing this campsite to campsite
forever
for the rest of our life.
We're gonna be too old.
For like a year or 2 or 3, we'll see. Maybe not 10.
7.
We'll see. We'll see until we see everything and we have enough and we want to settle down. And then
we'll tell you.
It's for our next video.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's for the next video.
Alright.
Because it's going to get too long and we know you guys don't like the super long videos, so that's it for today. That's the plan. We are excited as usual.
Yes. Alright. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe. Say it one more time.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Because it builds synapsin in the brain if you hear it 3 times.
Building synapsin. Alright.
We love you guys. See you in the next video. Peace, schmeeze.